US market was absolutely brutal today. Everything went down, right? And that's because in the US, we got two really bad numbers. And this is going to put Fed Chair Powell in an impossible situation. Number one, the growth of the country, GDP, came in half of expectations. So Goldman Sachs and others predicted that GDP would be growing, which means that the U.S. Economy would be growing at 3.4%. Instead, it was growing at 1.6%. That's a huge underestimation, right? Or I should say a huge overestimation. So that shows that as a country, we have slowed down dramatically, way more than people expected. But you know what? What makes this worse is inflation rose upwards, staggering amount month to month. It was anticipated that PCE was supposed to be at 2%, but instead it went up almost double to 3.7%. That's a staggering jump. Okay, so you have basically the worst combination possible. The economy is slowing down and inflation going upwards. So what is Powell going to do? If he cuts rates to spur up the economy, guess what? That's going to happen. Guess what's going to happen to inflation? It's going to go up even more, right? But then if he raises rates, which would be absolutely disastrous to cut inflation, well, that means the economy will slow down more and GDP will go into the negatives. So basically, he's in an impossible situation right now where he can't cut rates, nor can he raise rates. So this was something that we never seen before. So what is he going to do? What is he going to say, right? We don't know. We don't know. So this is what really spooked the markets today, because you have two horrific numbers in the U.S. and there's no good solution to this. There really isn't. So I don't know what he can do. I really don't. You know, the plan was to cut rates to spur up the economy so GDP will go up. But if inflation is going up, that's going to make it worse. So, you know, like really, I don't know what you're going to do if you're Powell. In fact, there's a massive buy that may be coming, hey, today. Okay, people have noticed $1.3 billion of USDC being sent to Coinbase. Now, you don't send stables to a major exchange, okay, for no reason. So, and it's not like you're sending $1.3 billion of Bitcoin to Coinbase. Then it's probably the opposite. They want to sell. But if you're sending USDC to Coinbase, the only reason for that is because you want to buy, right? So someone, or maybe a group, is looking to buy the dip, right? When things are low, when crypto's on discount, what are you supposed to do about it? You buy the dip. So that's probably coming. You don't just transfer for fun and just leave it there, right? But imagine if you actually had $1.3 billion USDC in your ledger or your trust wallet or whatever, and you're sending that. Like how scary is that? To send $1 billion of crypto to exchange from your wallet. I mean, I don't know if I could deal with that. That's just such an enormous amount. Bitcoin is going to go higher because ultimately we have more demand than supply because Bitcoin is scarce. So Bitcoin wallets that have at least $1,000 worth, okay, 1,000. Most retail investors have at least 1,000. I bet most of you guys have at least 1,000 worth of Bitcoin. Have jumped 20% since the start of 2024. Okay, so it means that yes, retail investors, even though may not be leading the market right now, they are still accumulating, along with the whales, which I've shown many metrics before, and institutions, obviously, because of the ETFs, right? So just take a look at that. number of addresses with over $1,000, we're at all-time high. You go all the way back. It's kind of hard. The orange is the price. The green is tracking the wallets. And you could see basically the wallets have gone up and down a little bit, but overall just trending upwards and upwards and upwards and upwards. More and more people on the planet is loading up on Bitcoin. Okay, that's not going to change. This is part of the growing fundamentals that I talk about. Number of holders, the time people hold their Bitcoin, like how long it's been, and everything else, the hash rate and everything that measures network activity, volume, and everything else is going upwards, all-time high, right? So that means a whole lot. So I have this halving indicator I downloaded. So I'm going to zoom out to the weekly scale, right? So these are our last few halvings that we had. Obviously, we just had one. Okay, what was the last one? The last one was May of 2020. So let me just show you guys. This was a halving event, and then you can see basically nothing until June, July. July, we had a little bump. Then we came back down, and it wasn't until October that we started going upwards, right? So you do the math. From May to October, that's 5 freaking months. So I remember after 2020, after the halving event, and that was, you know, right around the pandemic and lockdown and stuff, and everyone basically said, there's no way that Bitcoin's going to pump. There's no way we're going to have a usual cycle for Bitcoin. And they were kind of right, because we had to wait 5 months before we saw something happen. But then guess what happened? We still had that parabolic rise. So just because we had a halving event now and we don't see the effect does not mean we're not going to see it 2 months, 3 months, maybe even 5 months out. That's what happened last time. And if you keep on going and you go to the previous halving event, it's the same kind of thing. The second halving event happened July 9th, right? And then it's kind of hard to see, but we did start moving around here, which was already in July or January of next year. And then Bitcoin started going. So you can make an argument that the cycle before, you had to wait 6 freaking months before Bitcoin went up, right? Maybe even more. If you look at it from here, that's April. You're talking about like 8 months, 10 months, right? So just to put things in perspective, Bitcoin does not move immediately after a halving event. It actually takes some time. It takes months before it does, right? So just to let you guys know. But, you know, when in doubt, zoom out, and then you realize that, hey, we had some horrific drops before. And what we're going through right now is not one of those, okay? We had a little dip, yes, but it's nowhere near the horrific drops that we have seen in the past. So just to let you guys know, just put things in perspective. So is the cycle over? Are we going to go to 150,000? Are we going to go beyond? Yes, I don't think anything has changed other than just short-term FUD that we're facing right now.